I think wanting to work together came before the content, didn't it?
Yeah, there was a few. We've got mutual friends, and there was a few nights where you shouted down the phone when I was on a phone call. So let's do something. Kind of went from there. I went, all right.
Actually, when she said all right, that was the verbal contract sound for me. Brilliant. I told everyone I was working with Laura.
Yeah, she's a pest. I tell you.
So that came first, didn't it? And
yeah.
I'd been to see Heartbreak Soup, which is a brilliant piece that Laura wrote and directed.
Thanks, mate.
You're welcome. And was very moved by that, and also felt kind of, in terms of the language and the poetry and the text and the diction of what Laura does, just felt in the same ballpark to what I do with songs.
Yeah, and I'd been a fanatical fan for many years of the Bowen, and yeah, I completely, we kind of felt we were on the same page, and we were brought together, weren't we?
Yeah,
by
we were.
Natalie at the Empty Space.
We had a Cupid.
We did.
Cultural Cupid.
Cultural Cupid.
Natalie Carroll. Yeah. And we kind of we had an initial meeting, and I remember we sat down and we wrote a list of the things we were interested in, and one of those things was very much about just trying to go like that with what we did: songs, music, text, theatre, and we took it from there really. And it was strange at first. It was odd.
Yeah, we had to get drunk.
Lots. There was a lot of drinking in those early days.
I don't know if we should be saying
like any new relationship.
So anyway, we applied for a bursary. Is the official line.
Yes.
Aside from being drunk, we applied for a bursary. We started looking at putting together ideas of what subject matter, I suppose, what subjects we would like to explore, and those came very much and were inspired very much by your professional practice, wasn't it? We talked, we kind of shared life truths, I suppose, a little bit, and through that we created a fiction, or the seed for a fiction, and using that we applied for a development bursary from the Empty Space and Live Theatre, and got it. We're lucky enough to get it, and then worked around presenting a work in progress, which we were really, really lucky, because there was no emphasis on what that had to be, so the form that had to take. So that was completely wide open. You know, we could have sat the audience down and discussed what we were doing with them. We could have. It could have been purely musical, but what emerged was quite a lyrical piece of theatre set to music, I would say, or music, theatre with music, or musical theatre, or backpedaling from
I think that is a good distinction though, because one of the things we're aware of is that, you know, when you have a profile as a musician, and then suddenly you're making theatre, there are questions around that, and it's like, okay, so what does that look like? And actually that's been a question for us the whole way through. What does that look like? And we haven't said we wanted it to be or not be anything. Actually, it really has been totally explorative for us. So that for us, that lack of boundaries has meant that we've been able to have a toolkit, if you like, full of the things that we've both built our professional practice on for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
How long have we been adults for?
Don't ask.
Okay. And it's just been a case of kind of grabbing things out of the toolkit when it's felt right.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the great things about the bursary and then the development time we've had since then.
Yes.
Because the Live Theatre then came back to us and sat us down and said, what would you like to do next? And we kind of said, ooh, next, right. And since that point of everyone getting excited about an actual piece, it's been a further but deeper and richer mine of exploration, really. And now we're 4 days off showtime, and in many ways we're still exploring.
We're hoping that the piece will have a further life, so this will be a real dialogue with the audience.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll create to the point of showing, and then we'll stop and listen and look and see what the piece is in other people's eyes, and we'll reshape from there, I think. It follows, we follow a character called Stella. Her name means stars, and she is at a crossroads in her life where she is looking for more, and she answers an advert from another woman who's looking for a companion to climb a mountain together. The woman turns out to be an inspiration and pushes Stella, unknowingly, I think, pushes Stella into directions that she didn't think her life would take, I suppose. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's the ascent of a lifetime, I would say.
Yeah, and there's a sense right from the beginning when people come see the piece, they'll get a sense of what's happened.
Yeah.
We meet Stella at the end, really,
Mm-hmm.
and she works backwards from the end back to the beginning and then to the end again. So there's a real kind of almost grotesque tension right from the beginning, which is punctuated by the kind of story and her memories unfolding and music and soundscapes and storytelling kind of all intermingle to present that to the audience, and there's almost a sense, and we were discussing this yesterday, weren't we, that without the audience it's not clear whether Stella would be able to do what she's doing. That she needs them there, she needs the people in the room to be able to allow the story to unfold. In the same way that I guess we all do. We all define ourselves and our experiences and our memories against each other, and our kind of emotional landscapes and our narratives play out very much not in a vacuum.
And as she journeys through and into this sequence of memories, the atmosphere becomes alive, I suppose, with the weather and with the landscape and with the emotional landscape, I suppose, of each stage of that journey, and that's where we go in and out of song. But I would say the whole piece is lyrical, is in one kind of palette, I suppose you would say. So we're not stopping for a song. We're not.
The whole piece is a song. We've always described it like that, haven't we? And it has an arc, and it in the same way that a song has, you know, a kind of punctuation mark and certain codas and certain motifs. This piece has that as well. And that really tickled us. I think that's tickled us from the beginning. The idea that we could make a piece of theatre that would somehow feel like a brilliantly cathartic song.